Um, I hope it doesn't sound strange, but I think blind dating. And as we were saying in the global cohort, let's go LIFers, stay united, and let's do things together. The story of Neurolytics started with the public policy models at the level of planning in municipalities and counties.
So welcome, Edgar, to the season 2 of the LIF-E. E stands for entrepreneur. So LIF-E podcast. So in this podcast, we're going to be talking about LIFers who want to collaborate in terms of partnering and selling and building solutions together with other LIFers across the globe. So welcome to the podcast. And I just want to introduce everybody to Edgar. The LIF Global Cohort 2022 would be knowing him. He's a networker in that community. But Edgar is the CSO or Chief Scientific Officer at Neurolytics. He is from Mexico, and as I said, he's a part of the LIF Global Cohort 2022. There are a lot of things about Edgar. I went through the LinkedIn and there was like so much of it, so I had to write down and get an understanding. But that's a brief about what Edgar does. And maybe Edgar, if you want to maybe talk about your startup in one line, or maybe a couple of lines, what your startup does, so it could help the other LIFers to know about your company and you. So yeah, over to you.
Yeah. So neat. So apart from my story, I just want to say that Neurolytics is kind of a scientific company. That's a concept that it's been around the world for like some decades. And the thing with scientific companies is, even if we are pursuing to have a sustainable revenue model, to have a business, we also pursuing to increase the scientific knowledge in certain areas. So the base of Neurolytics is called complex theory. That's something really amazing. So physicists, statisticians, mathematicians, all are crazy about complexity theories, which are seeing the world not just through equation, but seeing the world as a cumulative or cooperative phenomena in which every part has some attributes, some qualities, and the most important part is how it relates to, how every of these parts relates to another. So some common examples of complex behavior are the flock fly, for example, in dogs, in birds, in which they just follow some certain directions and they, as a group, act in some kind of intelligence. So that's what Neurolytics does. Neurolytics is trying to find the intelligence on the cumulative or cooperative behavior in public policies. And we are doing with technology. So we are doing with data science, we are doing with artificial intelligence, and of course with a lot of data mining in public policies. That's something that is not been done, as far as I know, in the world. And maybe that will be some premise on this podcast. I will announce some cool things that we are doing with Neurolytics.
Perfect. Cool, Edgar. So I think the way you explained about the flocking, flying of the birds, I think I got now a very nice perspective onto what you guys do. And again, congratulations for your avatar being in the top 10 at X Prize. I think getting into X Prize itself like a big thing, and then you getting top 10 is again incredible. So congratulations on that. And can you share about like maybe 3 strengths about your startup? I mean, like, so you're a group of multi-skilled people in Neurolytics. Everybody's having their own own strengths. So can you talk about your team, or maybe strengths about your startup?
So in the team's perspective, so we are like not hiring, but evangelizing some people, some big names in Mexico. So, for example, public servants, some technology directors on the public service, and also we are starting to knock in doors at some of the great scientists' minds, at least here in Mexico. But as we are explaining more and more about what we can do with data science and public policies, more people is like knocking the doors on Neurolytics, and that's fantastic. So we have now like some around 10 volunteers which are eager to know about complexity science, which are eager to know about how to apply data science to public policies. And the topics just get crazy. So there are people that wanting to look public policies in the more standard way with social science. There are other people that want to build technology about artificial intelligence on public sciences. And the third one that also blows my mind is politics communication. So I don't know if it's equal in every country. Politics is a strong team that everybody talks about, but nobody has the measure of it. So, for example, if we try to think about public policies and say, okay, this is the thing that we want to be done. We want to have more streets. We want to have more exciting cities. We want to have a lot of roads. But in a sense, what the things that we can ask with this kind of products that we offer in Neurolytic is this the right moment of having that? Could it be possible to choose one of other strategies? So, for example, growing in education instead of growing in, I don't know, a specialization in universities. So that's the kind of questions that people are starting to answer with Neurolytics models.
Amazing. It's pretty interesting in terms of the word that you said about measuring, measuring politics, or how you can quantify, even social sciences or politics communications, because it's broad, fragmented. It's a lot of, it's again complex, so as you said. So here, talking more about your startup in context to maybe what stage of modeling are you in? I mean, because you might have different models. They would all need a lot of data. You have eager interest in certain spaces. Some of them could be already working. So are there some models which are ahead and there are some that are in pipeline? So which are the ones that you feel that these are the top 3 models which are generic in nature and which can go global, or everybody would need it? Or these are, because again, as I understand, maybe it will take again some time for these models to mature as well with the data coming in. So which are your top 3 or top 5 models that you anticipate are good, and what benefits it can have?
So the story of Neurolytics started with the public policy models at the level of planning in municipalities and counties. So those are the first models, and now we are in a stage of expansion because we need more data. Actually, we want to go deeper. We want to go into knowing each public policy that is made in any city of the world. I know I'm trying to boil the ocean with a candle, but yeah, that will be like something really, really, really amazing to do. And that's one of the premise for this podcast. We are making a sub-side company of Neurolytics, which is called Wikilytics, like Wikipedia or something like that. And we are going through conversations with Wikimedia organization in order for us to be a public database for public policies. But that is something that is going to take, like, I think 4 or 5 years to complete it. The other top models that we have is always inclusion with sustainability SDGs. So an SDG could be modeled as a public policy model. So it has always 3 levels: the goal level, the indicator level, and the store level. So that model is like a really simple model, and it's applicable like a plugin to any kind of project that you do. So, for example, if you have a strategy and you want to know how this strategy is well fitted with the SDGs, so we can plug it in. And for example, there are like networks around the SDGs that can say, even if I'm applying for the sustainable water, even if I'm applying for the on education, there may be common indicators that could equalize on those models. So that's something that is in an ongoing research stage. And the third model that we are very proud of is an educational model that came out of nowhere because we were pitching for the city of Mexico, the strategy and political models. And they told to us, can you apply it to, I don't know the strategies of students and teachers that are in an educational system? And we say yes. So since July, we have not stopped working on building a model to understand the paths and the relationships between a student, teachers, subjects, and even schools, to try to see if there are patterns around why a student has certain qualifications, what is the value of investment in a certain student, given the school and the subjects that they are taking at school. That model is in production right now, so we are going to launch it for Mexico City. And what they ask us to do is to build some beautiful dashboards around the educational system, and we have already finished that. And I think it's going to be like a great use case, a product showcase for neurolytics. And yes, after we get the educational system in Mexico City, we can go for other states in Mexico. We can even go for the national education system and dream about going to other places or other countries.
Wow, Edgar. I think that's pretty cool in terms of this particular use case. Again, amazing in terms of the impact that it can bring. And as the more data feeds in, and again, I think youth and colleges and students are at the core of everything. So everybody across the globe are trying to make use of the schools, the colleges into innovation, into building more companies that goes around, and getting an insight from your model, I think could be very nice. And I think that excites me. And as well, Mexico is again I think it's the 17th largest economy in the world. And in the coming 10, 15, 20 years, PwC even talks about it being in the top 10 and top 7. And I think I've been going through a couple of cities in Mexico, and some of them have grown 100% in the last 10 years. I mean, so the growth is happening in Mexico, and I think this could be pretty interesting. So now coming to the second phase of the podcast in terms of what kind of LIFers from which countries are you excited? So are you looking at big countries like India, or are you looking at small countries like Barbados? Or do you have a perspective in mind? I want to focus east, west, or a certain area or a certain country, so that when LIFers watch this podcast, they get a perspective of which kind of country you're trying to try to get the dots in or connections in.
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. And as the title for Neurolytics says, we make complex data simple. We are going for the complex countries. So India is our top one priority because of the population and the intersection of human behaviors that arise from them. And then we want to go to the Asian countries, Indonesia. Perhaps we should also go to China, which is a bit difficult market to enter. By the way, they don't give you data like easily. But yeah, other countries that are of our interest is going to Africa, and going for the major cities that are becoming more populated, like Lagos in Nigeria. So it's all about a lot of people, a lot of interactions, a lot of complexities, because in those places is where our models, as in the stage that they are right now, could give some information. Later on, when we have developed a good quality of models, we can use that models as an input for I'm going to say simpler countries, not because they are simple, but because they have like more ordered fashion ways. So for example, all the European countries are like very ordered. Their public policies are like very well known, and they have been using it for a long time. So maybe applying a complex model to a simple country could not be the right stage to do if you don't comprehend the complexity in those crazy countries, I will say.
I think pretty cool. I think and the countries that you spoke about are going to be in the top 10 in the next 15 to 20 years. They're going to become more complex for you. So I think Indonesia is again going to be in the top 4. by 2050. India is again going to be in the top second 2050. That's what the PwC talks about. China, as you said, it's challenging. So I think it's going to be interesting. We have LIFers in India. I think Indonesia, a good amount of LIFers in both the places, and Africa as well, like, from LIF Advanced as well. Really interesting. Now, what kind of, within these LIFers in these countries, what are you looking at? So are you looking at partnering, building, or co-building solutions, or trying these LIFers? What is the role of these LIFers that you feel? Are they going to be just getting you leads, or are they going to be doing together, or are they edtech startups? And they use your model that you spoke about for the students, teachers, and so it becomes co-inhabitation for them. So what kind of LIFers within these countries are you looking? Could be your ideal partners?
So those LIFers that have access to good databases, to big databases, are like our preferred partners. What we can do is building a partnership in which we set up the stage of investigation and model creation, and then we can build technologies in a lot of fashion ways. So, for example, if they want to build technologies around machine learning flows or artificial intelligence orchestration, that's something that can be done. We don't have to use only the models of neurolytics. So we can partnership in building another kind of models for another kind of phenomena that they are interested on. And of course, then comes the straight ahead building that we do in an entrepreneurship. So identify a problem. Now with neurolytics, we have to identify a problem that has a good database, a good data related with it, and then try to look for the solution. So it's very important for us to have people that, to have partners that have the insights in the country. Because, for example, I will say in Mexico, we have not so much problems with water, even if we have to. But some other countries may have the spotlight on that problem, because water is one of the biggest problems in the world. And yeah, perhaps the next big model on neurolytics could be a water distribution model in a country. Or perhaps, I don't know, maybe Indonesia people will say, come on, we have all that figured out, or we have a strong policy, or we have a lot of genius on that matter, but we want to apply a model for job seeking, job finding, for activation of economic post-pandemics. And yeah, if they have the data, we can work out the model and then work out the solution. As always, as we entrepreneurs know, we have to first figure out the problem and then figure out how we can build technology to do it. So another thing that I will ask for my fellow LIFers is that also neurolytics and me personally are exploring this kind of innovative technologies. We can call it exponential technologies, push technologies. So, for example, metaverse is something that is really something that we are exploring because of the engagement or the city engagement that the metaverse could have with people. One of the weaknesses that we have is that we are not so good at the front-end technologies. So any LIFer that is like really good at front-end technologies, and I'm not just talking about the classical technologies of web development, but also at the artificial augmented reality, virtual reality, or the wearables or something like that, that goes on the front end. That's something that we want to explore, for example, in the health industry. Or even so, one of the things that most of our volunteers are enthusiastic about are digital twins, which generate a lot of data. And that could be applied in industry, in aerospace, in satellites. So that's one of our weaknesses. We are very good at modeling, we are very good at science, but at finding how to subtract that data from the living things or from the internet things or from the sensors, that's something that we can really partnership around.
Cool. I think it's pretty interesting because we were seeking like whom you are seeking, but you've also given some of your needs in terms of requirements, or in terms of which other LIFers could fulfill as well. And here I had this question, like you said, good database. So what is the quantification of a LIFer with a good database? Like, how do you quantify good database? I mean, what is that? What could
So a good database should be an image of a complete phenomena. For example, in the educational industry, if we just have like the names of the pupils and their qualification or their grades, is not enough data. We have to have the relationship around the phenomena of education, the relationship about where are they going, what are they doing, with whom are they taking classes, how much time is a class during. And if you expand a lot of relationships that are around a social phenomena, that will be a good databases. In a matter of sense, so for example, the databases that came in the classic enterprise relationship management or systems are not so good, because they are just like transactional database. We need something that is more flavor, something that is more relationable. So thinking about a very business project. So for example, if you have the data of the invoices, the payments, the production sheets, or even the production recipes and the customer behavior around building that will be a good data. So complex, a lot of relations, and data that describes almost completely some phenomena.
Perfect. I think I get a perspective now. Perfect. I get an understanding. And coming to maybe the last part of the conversation, in terms of you have been you led the first activity in the LIF global cohort in terms of doing the LIF metaverse meetup. And it was for the first time that I was in the metaverse, invited by, I had fun going around in the metaverse. So what do you feel could be the activities that we could do in LIF, which could be an input for Luke as well at the community side, that can engage the LIFers, because we are so diverse, we have crazy time zones, and there are a lot of us. So what has been your thought, or what has been your learning so far, or what do you think, the minimum effort, maximum, or something that gives a lot of value? Which activity would that be?
Yeah, I hope it doesn't sound strange, but I think blind dating, blind entrepreneurial dating should be so like having like your calendar and set some slots open for half an hour and have a blind conversation with another LIFer should increase in interaction. Doing it in the metaverse should be fun, and having someone like I don't know what's the name in English, but we call it chaperonear in Spanish. Which, think about it like the woman in the old churches that marry people, that make people like go in an ongoing projects. That's one figure that we should have, like champions on building projects, like you, like yourself, like Anisha, like this girl in Mexico, Angelica, that are very active. So we should have blind dates and have a lot of chaperones to push us to build projects together, even if not entrepreneurial projects, but for example, silly projects like going to like giving a talk in a podcast like this one, or just talk with a student in another country about your product or your project. That should be amazing. So interaction, blind dating, and chaperones.
Perfect, Edgar. I think it's pretty out of the box and very interesting, very practical. I think very nice thoughts that you had. And I think I'm going to take this to Luke and share with him. And I think this could be pretty interesting and fun to do. And I love the part of doing projects together. I mean, it doesn't have to make sense. It should be like fun, or it could be anything. But which excites you, or which is your interest area as well, out of work, or maybe aligned with work. So I think those are some of the very interesting parts. So with that, I think we've come to a conclusion part of this podcast. So I think Thanks, Edgar. And this has been the first episode that we're shooting for the season 2. So thanks again for taking out your time. I know it's going to be almost like around 12, and then you had to break it in between your FIFA, the World Cup that's happening again. So thanks so much for taking out time, and I think it was amazing to talk to you. And thank you for your energy as well. And I hope a lot of LIFers listen to this and they get more positive energy. And I'll push to ensure the blind dating starts. I think with your thoughts on it. So I think it should be fun. All right. Thanks, Edgar. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you very much, Raj. And as we were saying in the global cohort, let's go LIFers, stay united, and let's do things together.
Cool. So I'm just gonna be just couple of questions around. I'll be like introducing you, and maybe you can just talk about innovation, and then maybe something about your startup in terms of strengths, a little bit about team size or revenue, and then maybe maybe the stage of the product or the models that you're working on, and like that's like the first phase. And the next phase, we're going to be having conversations around maybe which country of LIFers are you seeking to co-partner, co-sell, or co-build? What kind of a target where should they be having relationship? Like in your case, I think it's all what with my limited understanding is maybe it's all about public policies and AI, right? No, so someone with connections over there maybe, and who could be your partners? I mean, or companies. I mean, and then at the end, we'll be wrapping it around by what kind of activities or engagements you would want to happen in LIF Global, because you've already done the Metaverse meetup. So anything else, or you think, because you can see the energy of and everything in the group. So something if you're able to come out, because that could be a takeaway for Luke. So he has joined as a community manager. So that could be a thought for him as well on what he wants to do. And you have amazing energy, so I think he would love to hear from you as well. So any changes you want, you can let me know. I can change around the questions. I mean, or you want me to ask any questions?
No. We can go ahead and make it fluid.
Perfect. Cool, man. Cool. So Edgar, I'm just going to start by introducing you.